Okay, let's unpack this. If you're thinking about getting a new central air conditioner for your home sometime soon, right?
Yeah.
You're probably thinking about, size, efficiency ratings, maybe brands.
Visual stuff.
Exactly. But a deep dive into one particular source we're looking at today, well, it reveals a really specific, maybe unexpected challenge,
Hmm.
something this author says you absolutely need to be aware of before you make a decision.
That's right. And what's interesting about this piece, it's the problem that highlights isn't really about the technical side of things, how well the AC performs.
Mhm.
No, it's more a very real, practical issue happening right now. On the ground, we're looking at excerpts from a piece called R-454B AC, a cautionary tale.
Got it. A cautionary tale. And our mission today, it's simple, really. We want to take this material, pull out the core message,
Yeah.
and help you understand if buying an R454B AC unit in 2025 could pose a problem for you, but strictly based on what this one source is telling us.
Exactly. We're sticking to the concerns raised just by this author.
So let's dive in.
Okay, so the author gets right to it. Paints a pretty challenging picture, actually. According to this piece,
Mm-hmm.
right now, the refrigerant specifically used in some of these newer systems, R454B,
Right.
it's facing significant supply problems, like major ones.
Yeah, the source really details this. It says it's currently extremely hard to find, not just a small hiccup.
Yeah, no.
The article claims that most HVAC supply houses, even the big national ones, they're seeing major import issues.
Hmm.
The refrigerant is apparently held up in ports, facing delays, or just not arriving, not in the quantities needed anyway.
And this scarcity, well, as the article explains, it leads directly to something most consumers will definitely feel in their wallet.
Ah, the cost.
Right. When R454B does become available, the price is reportedly just, well, shot up dramatically. The author cites prices of like $1,500?
Yeah.
Maybe even more
Wow.
for a single 20-pound jug.
For one jug, that's
Yeah.
that's a significant cost, especially for something you might need for servicing, for repair.
Exactly. And here's where the scenario presented in the source gets particularly relevant.
Mhm.
And frankly, a bit concerning if you're a homeowner thinking about this.
Right.
The article asks you to imagine this. You go ahead, you invest in a brand new R454B system this year.
Right. You get it installed, it's running great, cooling perfectly.
Perfect. But then, maybe just a few months later, you get a common issue, say like a coil leak. Happens all the time.
Yeah, standard repair for any AC, really. The fix itself is usually pretty straightforward.
Right. But the source highlights the potential problem because of this refrigerant shortage. The tech comes out, fixes the leak, great. He's ready to recharge your system with R454B.
Uh-huh.
But according to this account, they might simply not be able to get the refrigerant anywhere.
Oh, I see. So the article suggests you could be left. You could have a brand new, perfectly repaired air conditioner
Yep.
that just can't operate because the essential refrigerant, the stuff needed to make it run, isn't available because of the supply chain issues the author talks about.
That's the core warning in this piece, that consumers might buy these units without being fully aware of the potential downstream serviceability problems, specifically now, at this point in time.
Okay, so it's very time sensitive, this warning.
It seems that way. This piece isn't necessarily slamming the R454B technology itself, its efficiency or anything.
Right.
It's emphasizing that the timing of your purchase really matters based on these current market realities the author sees.
So the central point is, given the supply chain difficulties they're describing right now in 2025, choosing an R454B unit could expose you to significant unexpected costs, or even just having a non-working unit down the road, specifically if it needs servicing that requires a recharge.
So that's the argument being made here, yes.
So, okay, based purely on the perspective in R454B AC, a cautionary tale, the immediate worry isn't performance, it's this practical problem. Getting the refrigerant for maintenance, for repair, because of supply disruptions, the author details.
Exactly. And it's worth noting, the article does point to systems using a different refrigerant, R32, some new Goodman units, as potentially having less of this specific supply risk at this time.
Right.
They're offered sort of as an example of an alternative the author sees as more viable currently.
Interesting. So wrapping this specific source up, the immediate concern raised isn't the tech, but the supply chain for R454B right now, cost and availability.
Precisely. Which leads to perhaps a provocative thought for you, the listener. Given this information, just from this one source,
Yeah.
before you commit to any new AC system, especially one using these newer refrigerants, how would you actually go about verifying the availability, the current and projected availability of the specific refrigerant it needs?
Good question. Like, what specific questions should you be asking the installer or the supplier?
Exactly. Before you sign on the dotted line,
Mm.
how do you protect yourself from potentially running into the kind of supply issues described in this piece?
It's a reminder, isn't it? Sometimes the biggest factor isn't just the tech specs, the brand, or the efficiency rating.
But the supply chain. Simply whether the stuff needed to make it actually run is readily available and, well, affordable. Something to think about.